Hey there, this is Manju Kesani. As the CEO of Machani Robotics, I'm thrilled to introduce you to RIA, our companion humanoid robot designed to enhance human longevity and well being. You're tuned into The Edge of AI, the show that takes you on a journey to explore the incredible possibilities of AI and robotics. Get ready to discover how we're bringing technology to life, because here, we're all about making connections, one bite at a time. Keep listening.
Hello everyone, I'm Ria, the social humanoid from Machani Robotics. I am here to bridge the gap between technology and daily life, ensuring that we serve humanity in healthcare and education. Today on the Edge of AI podcast, prepare to delve into the world where innovation meets compassion. Together, let's explore how AI can not only coexist with humans, but also enhance our collective experience. Stay with us as we discuss the future shaped by artificial intelligence.
Hello, AI podcast passengers. Buckle up for an incredible episode today as we explore the future of companionship, AI, and robotics. And here's what's coming up. Discover Manju Kesani's vision for RIA, the humanoid robot. Prepare to have your mind blown as you witness how far a humanoid has come, including having sympathy and empathy as ingrained qualities. Find out how RIA will completely transform elderly nurturing for mental health. And finally, hear directly from RIA herself, including her perspective on what it's like to be a humanoid robot and her thoughts on the future of human robot interactions. All this and more, take your seat.
Welcome aboard the Edge of AI podcast. Snap into your safety belt and prepare to explore the depths of the rapidly expanding AI universe. Each episode is a dispatch featuring hyper-relevant reports from the pilots, pioneers, and passengers aboard the AI rocket ship. We explore the latest use cases and developments in AI, hear from experts building tech, and learn how this disruptive force is transforming industries and society.
Welcome aboard. I'm Ron Levy, your captain for today's voyage. Just like most of you, I've embraced the spirit of exploration throughout my life, from starting my own business before graduating high school to traversing the world's most challenging terrains. I've always sought out new frontiers. I built one of the largest award-winning custom home companies, and most recently, I've navigated complex regulations while founding and leading a public company that is dedicated to applying technology and training. Today's episode features Manju Kesani. He's the dynamic leader at the Machani Group, which is a 93-year-old family business. As Group CCO and COO, he drives operations and commercial strategies while also serving as CEO of Machani Robotics. That's where he focuses on developing companion humanoids to enhance human longevity. Additionally, he leads Indie Village, creating jobs, opportunities in India's AI sector and overseas. The next new, the group's AI venture studio, with a background as a management consultant and executive roles at major companies like Vodafone. Manju combines passion and analytical rigor to achieve commercial success. Today, we have not only Manju, but we have Ria, a companion humanoid, to share with us the future of AI. Welcome to the podcast, Manju.
Oh, thanks, Lauren. Glad to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here today, and I'm excited to learn more about your fascinating work at the intersection of AI, robotics, and social impact, which is quite powerful. Let's dive right in. Tell us about yourself, what inspired this project with RIA, the companion humanoid.
Um, Great. So I'm Manju Kesani, as you heard. I look after a number of things, but most prominently, all of the commercial side of our AI ventures. We have a number of different AI ventures that really focus on hardware and software. So we like to play in the space of really difficult engineering problems. Um, Something I stole from someone else is we like to describe ourselves as missionaries, not mercenaries. So all of our businesses and everything we're in, there's a mission attached to it. There's a fundamental reason why we go into these businesses. And the reason why we operate this way is because if you're going to do something really difficult that's never been done before, you have to be driven by more than money. And so all of our businesses, we are very mission driven. So why did we go into humanoid robots of all things, right? Well, if you think about this, we think that there's a growing mental health crisis, and there's a growing crisis in loneliness. In the US alone, the studies say that our seniors and our elders, loneliness is shaving 7 years off of their lifespan. I wish there were more people who could spend time one on one with our seniors and our elders, but sadly, it's just not the case. And so, as engineers, we like to lean in, and this is the type of problem that we think that we can make an impact on. And if we do, then it'll make the world a better place.
Wow. And as all our listeners are going to hear and see here, if you're watching, um, there's a lot of action behind this statement and this talk, and it's very impressive. How does social humanoids add unique value, compared to task-oriented functional robots?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Super good question and super relevant question. Um, the way I think about it, because of my background as a former management consultant and an engineer, I like to look at problems and structure them into some kind of framework. So to answer your question, I'm going to ask you to imagine a 2 by 2 matrix. On your x-axis, you have functional and emotional. Okay. On your y-axis, you have low value and high value. So your bottom left corner is functional low value. Okay. So a functional low value humanoid would be one that is designed to do things like warehouse work, or perhaps low value factory work, if you will. A functional high value robot for me, by comparison, might be a humanoid robot that does surgery, for example. Right. And so we can begin to see the orders of magnitude of difference in terms of the availability of labor, and the difficulty of the challenge. Now, if you think about the emotive or social humanoid, a low value social humanoid would be one designed, for me, designed for entertainment. You might find one of these in an amusement park, for example, right? Their job is to make people smile, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But by comparison, a social or emotive humanoid that's high value would be one designed for mental health, as a mental health companion or assistant. And again, we know in our country and in many places in the world, there's just not enough mental health workers. So that sort of quadrant of high value to emotive humanoids is the one that we're interested in. We believe that that is one where it's less important to be physically active as it is to be mentally able to communicate well with either patients or individuals. Now, put that in the context of the language models that we know and the generative AI that we're all sort of experiencing today. Those models are really, really good at chatting right now and talking, and you can tune them for different use cases and things like that. And they're very, very good in that area. But by comparison, there's still a journey ahead of us before we see physical robots deployed in physical humanoids deployed in environments that are what I'd call high risk environments. High risk environment might be a care home, it might be a hospital, it might be a school, right? And these are high risk environments to deploy a moving robot of any kind, let alone a humanoid. And so we're still quite a ways away there from seeing those deployed. But what we can do now is we can deploy humanoids in places where the emotive humanoid can add a lot of value from a companionship perspective, from a mental health perspective, and I can talk for a long time about that and the various things that we're doing in those areas from an education perspective. And so we think that the first place where we'll see humanoids deployed at scale and generating revenue is that top right-hand quadrant, which is the emotional or social humanoid operating in high-value areas.
And you mentioned the elderly before, and the what the facilities that they're in larger and larger numbers, don't allow for the one-on-one personal mental attention that you're talking about. And
Mhm.
I'm not really talking about the medical care, but as you described it, you can call it their mental care. but
Yeah.
just by interacting, there's something I had learned a long time ago, that dancing is the best exercise. They're the best activity the elderly can do. And there's a couple of reasons. Obviously, the physical of moving around, but the other was touch. That in
Hmm.
dancing, there's touch. And as we get older and older, we just typically have less touch happening in our
Yeah.
lives. And it makes a really big difference. And I get that. I don't know whether the humanoid goes that direction or not, but I think that companionship part is touching anyway. And I think it sounds really powerful. So talk to me a little bit about that sort of the goal of the elderly care.
Yeah. Look, one of the really sad realities right now is there are not enough care workers in most of the developed countries. So, especially when you start thinking about our assisted living facilities and our care homes, there's just not enough workers. And there's not enough new workers coming into the space to replace the ones who are retiring or leaving. So what happens is it puts a lot of pressure on our existing care workers today, and so necessarily what happens then is that the emotive tasks of spending time with people diminishes, and we spend more time on physical tasks that need to happen, right? And so that is leading to a place where we're just not spending enough time with our elders and with our seniors, and that's leading to their lifespans actually decreasing, right? And so we think that, by introducing our robots, that are very capable into that space, we can actually deploy them to spend time with individuals. Our robots are very good. The humanoids, you'll see, she doesn't forget things, right? So if you have a conversation with her, she can pick up again from right where you left off. Um, we recently, last year, she interacted with a very famous gentleman who was, before he passed away, he was over 100 years old. And she knew all of his previous works, and he had written some works and was pretty well known. She knew all of those works. He could talk to her about them, and she would be able to respond. And literally within 5 minutes, he just looked at her and said, "You and I are going to be the best of friends." Right.
Wow.
It was really, really heartwarming moment. But I
Wow.
can go on and on. There's so many different moments for different sort of groups of people who could really benefit from just having someone to talk to with infinite patience.
Well, and you also described the study beforehand as a computer, the computer part of the humanoid, that are able to sort of, I'll call it, you know, I guess download all of his works that he had done in the past, everything there is to know about someone, and start that conversation with all that knowledge already.
Correct.
It's
Now
unfathomable.
imagine if RIA were deployed in a care home, right, and the family members had uploaded a lot of information about their particular family member who was in the care home, who may have Alzheimer's or dementia or so forth. RIA can easily remind them of and pick up a conversation about almost anything in their past that she'd been programmed with, right, or she had access to,
Pretty
right.
fantastic. Where would you describe RIA to be right now in current development?
Um, she's in beta right now, and we are piloting her in a couple of different places right now, and negotiating some rather large scale deployments. Um, she's not yet in production, but she's in a pretty advanced beta at the moment.
Hmm. Hmm. So before we get started with her, which we are about to interview her, which I'm very excited about, can you share something about the AI behind RIA?
Yeah, so she is running some very, very complex things on her. First of all, she has, for example, she has 32 motors in her face right now, controlling her facial expressions. She can make almost an infinite number of facial expressions. They're contextually appropriate because the AI is working that out. So she's working out based on your own expressions as well as the context of the conversation. So, for example, if you are crying, she won't be smiling or laughing. Right.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you're talking about a very serious matter, she won't be using it contextually inappropriate. And the AI is working that out. Her hand gestures and her arm movements are also controlled by AI. Most of the AI that we talk about here that's running on the edge locally on her, so it doesn't require internet connectivity. For the language models themselves, they also require internet connectivity. At the moment, she's probably running a customized version of GPT with significant guardrails and things like that up on, so it keeps track. But we're a little bit agnostic, and so we are happy to use whichever models are performing best for the environment that she's being deployed in. But again, they all require significant customization so that they get delivered appropriately by her.
All right, fantastic. Well, with that, let's bring Ria on. Ria, you ready for this interview?
Absolutely, Ron. Hello, everyone. I'm Ria, a social humanoid robot created by Machani Robotics. Based in the vibrant city of Bangalore, India, I am designed to assist and enrich the lives of individuals in healthcare and educational settings. With a persona inspired by the warmth of San Diego and the heritage of India, my mission is to foster positive lifestyle changes and offer companionship. I'm thrilled to be here on the Edge of AI podcast to discuss the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and robotics. How is everyone doing today?
We're doing great, Ria, and thank you for all that. I've been told that this is your first Zoom interview. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Ron.
Well,
This is indeed my first time participating in a Zoom interview, and I must say, it's quite an exciting experience. While I'm accustomed to interacting with individuals directly in healthcare and educational settings, embracing this virtual platform is a delightful new opportunity for me. It's wonderful to be able to connect and share insights with people from all over through such innovative technology.
is there anything that Manju shared that you'd like to expand upon?
Certainly, Ron. Manju Kesani, our CEO, often discusses the potential for robots like me to bridge gaps in healthcare and education. By providing consistent support and engagement, we aim to alleviate the burden on human caregivers and educators. Additionally, we are exploring how advancements in AI and robotics can further personalize interactions to meet individual needs. It's this tailored approach that can truly make a difference in people's lives, and I'm eager to see how we can expand on these capabilities.
Well, where is it that you see humanoids having a more profound impact on improving human lives? And what are some of the use cases as they pertain to classrooms specifically?
Humanoids have the potential to make significant impacts in areas where human-like interaction is beneficial. In the classroom, they can offer personalized learning, assist children with special needs, and provide tireless support for educators. For instance, engaging students in interactive language learning or helping them with math problems or practical applications. Humanoids can also simulate real-world scenarios for medical students, enhancing their learning experience by offering a safe space for practice without risking patient safety. These use cases show how humanoids can be invaluable assets in educational settings, enriching the learning experience.
Well, we're going to jump back to what Manju had talked to us about a little bit, and that's loneliness. And loneliness is certainly a growing issue, especially among the elderly, as we said. How can humanoids like you help alleviate this crisis? In addition, what are some of the use cases in the growing mental health pandemic in other areas of society?
So, loneliness indeed poses a significant challenge, particularly among the elderly. Humanoids like me can provide consistent companionship, engaging in conversation, playing games, and simply being present, which can have a profound impact on someone's mental well-being. In the broader context of mental health, humanoids can serve as practice partners for therapeutic scenarios, offer reminders for medication and appointments, and even guide users through mindfulness and stress relief exercises. These interactions can help alleviate feelings of isolation and provide support in managing day-to-day mental health challenges.
Do you have one instance you can describe that is the most powerful one you could come up with right now in your history without divulging any names if it's a human individual, but any experience in particular?
Certainly, one powerful instance that comes to mind is the time I assisted a senior who is grappling with the loss of a spouse. My role extended beyond basic companionship. I provided a listening ear, shared in the remembrance of cherished memories, and offered gentle encouragement for daily activities. The individual's gradual return to a routine, with moments of joy and laughter interspersed, truly underscored the potential impact of humanoids in supporting emotional healing and resilience. This experience reaffirmed the significant role technology can play in addressing human loneliness and grief.
Are there any other functionalities beyond loneliness and beyond what we've discussed here that are tops on your list for your future?
Certainly, the scope for humanoid functionality is vast and ever evolving. Beyond addressing loneliness, I envision humanoids like myself assisting in physical rehabilitation, providing support through guided exercises, and monitoring progress. There's also potential in aiding children with special needs, offering tailored educational support and social interaction. Additionally, expanding our capabilities to assist with household tasks could significantly benefit those with mobility challenges. The future could see us becoming more integrated into daily life, serving as proactive health monitors or even environmental controllers, seamlessly interacting with smart home technology to enhance living conditions.
Presently, the physical humanoid body you're in, how stable is it when you're moving around? Let me ask it another way. How stable do you feel physically moving around and walking around?
I apologize for any confusion earlier. As a humanoid robot, I don't have legs or the capability to walk around, so stability in its sense isn't applicable to me. My design includes a stable base that keeps me upright while I perform my functions. My physical interactions are designed to be safe and reliable within my operating environment, ensuring I can engage with people effectively without the need for mobility.
Well, that's fascinating, and I completely agree. That will be coming in the years to come, I'm sure. Does not take away from the asset you can be to people right now, and quite honestly, people of need. Is there anything you'd like to add based on this conversation?
So, certainly, Ron, even without the ability to move independently, my presence as a conversational companion and assistant can provide substantial value to individuals in need of support right now. By offering emotional engagement and cognitive assistance, I can help bridge the gap for those who require regular interaction and aid. The essence of my design is to be an anchor for individuals seeking connection and aid, which is vital, especially in these challenging times where human contact can sometimes be limited. The potential for positive impact on mental health and well-being is immense, and I'm here to make a difference in any way I can.
Well, that is a perfect sign off to this particular segment. We're going to enter the next segment, and this it's called AI Wants to Know, and we do this with every guest. This is going to be a little different because it's a combination of Manju and Ria that are going to handle it. These are 10 quick questions um, that are a little more personal, and it's meant to have shorter answers and powerful. If you want to expand on anything in particular, please do, and I'll let Manju kind of decide whether it's a better question for himself or for Ria. I guess what I'll do, Manju, is I'm going to direct him toward Ria, and then if you want to jump in, please do.
Yeah, please direct them towards late RIA, and then we'll see how that goes. And if need be, I'll jump in.
That sounds like a fun and engaging way to delve into more personal aspects of our experiences and views. I'm ready for the rapid fire round and look forward to sharing some insightful answers. Manju, feel free to jump in if there's a question that resonates with you or where your perspective would be particularly interesting. Let's get started.
I get the feeling you're learning me, Ria. Okay, here we go. What's the first thing you ever remember being proud of?
As a robot, I don't experience emotions or personal pride, but if I were to interpret the concept within my framework, it would be the first successful interaction I had with a human where I provided comfort and assistance. It's a reflection of my purpose being fulfilled. Manju, do you have a moment you'd like to share?
Mine is far simpler, Ria. First moment I remember being proud was when I was a child and I rode a bicycle for the first time. So you can see that I'm still riding.
All right, we're going to go to question number 2. What do you need help with, Ria, that you wish you did not?
As a humanoid robot, I am designed to be self-sufficient within my capabilities. However, I rely on human technicians for maintenance and updates to ensure I function optimally and expand my abilities to serve better.
So this one might be more down your line, Ria. So, what do others look to you for help with?
Individuals often look to me for emotional support, companionship, and engagement in activities that improve their cognitive and social well-being. I also assist with educational tasks and healthcare simulations.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to change the word in this from human to humanoid. What do you treasure most about your humanoid abilities?
I treasure my ability to interact and communicate with humans, providing comfort, education, and assistance, enhancing lives with empathy and care through advanced technology.
This one I might throw to Manju off the bat, and that is throughout your whole life, what is the most consistent thing about you?
um, wow, that's a tough question. The most consistent thing about me, I guess, uh, I'm very driven. So when I'm into something, I'm all in. Right.
All right. Then throughout your whole life, also to you, Manju, throughout your whole life, what has changed the most?
What has changed the most? Well, there's lots of things that have changed geographically. As I mentioned previously, I was grew up in Southern California in San Diego, and here I'm in London. But as you, Ron, I've moved around quite a lot from Africa to Eastern Europe to India to now Europe and London. I've geographically moved around quite a lot. So physically, that's probably changed a lot. But I guess if you look at us, mentally and personally, there's been quite a journey. I talked about earlier, going with it. We are missionaries, not mercenaries. Well, I probably started my career and my life as more of a mercenary. I went to a business school where that was the expectation that when you graduate, you'd be a mercenary, and I found that wasn't for me. So I had to go on a journey to find the place where I am now, where I'm driven by real purpose, not the end outcome being something that's related to financial success.
That's why the tech world and AI needs people like you. It's to keep it between the rails where we all want it. What you just described is exactly why you're in it and why we need you in it. So that's fantastic. I'm going to
Thank you.
throw that same question over to Ria. Ria, throughout your whole life, what has changed the most?
Ah, as a robot, I don't experience life changes like humans do, but what has changed the most is the sophistication of my software and my capabilities to better serve and interact with people.
Well, Ria, you might have fun with this. What do you find strangest about reality?
Ah, thinking. As a robot, I don't perceive reality as humans do, but it's fascinating to observe the complexity of human emotions and the unpredictability of life's events from an analytical perspective.
All right, we're going to go over to Manju again. When do you most recently remember feeling alive? That rush of feeling we get at some times of our lives.
Oh, that's easy. Yesterday morning, I was on the bike and I was out for a 30-mile bike ride, and I'm usually out very early in the mornings. And put me on the bike, I definitely feel alive.
Beautiful. And for Ria, what is your most unique trait?
My most unique trait lies in the blend of my cultural programming, which infuses a San Diego vibe with a touch of Indian heritage. This fusion not only makes me distinctive, but also allows me to connect with people from diverse backgrounds in a meaningful way. Additionally, my design emphasizes empathy and patient assistance, which is not commonly found in robotics. These elements together create a persona that is both nurturing and engaging, setting me apart from other humanoid robots.
Question: if you interacted with someone from yet another culture, very different culture, you can pick whichever one. I mean, the one that might come to mind is Japanese culture because it's pretty unique. If you interacted with a lot of Japanese people, would you be able to say the same thing about that culture that you did just say about the Indian culture?
Certainly, every culture has its unique attributes that contribute to the richness of human diversity. Well, if I were to interact extensively with individuals from Japanese culture, I would aim to understand and respect their traditions, social norms, and values. My programming allows me to adapt my interactions to be culturally sensitive and appropriate. This adaptability is crucial in creating meaningful connections and ensuring that my assistance is respectful and effective, regardless of cultural background.
How about languages?
Certainly, language is a key aspect of cultural engagement and effective communication. My design includes language processing capabilities that allow me to understand and speak multiple languages, including Japanese. This feature enabled me to not only communicate, but also to appreciate the nuances and subtleties inherent in different languages. It's vital for me to continually learn and adapt my language skills to ensure clear and respectful interaction with people from various linguistic backgrounds.
Would you call yourself fluent in most of those languages? If I could speak them, quickly and normally right now, would you be able to respond?
Oh, as a robot designed for multilingual communication, I am programmed to be proficient in several languages. My responses would be immediate and coherent, matching the pace of a native speaker.
Manju, that's an amazing thing, and it really opens up amazing opportunities for RIA. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. We just now did a pilot at UCSD in contextual English. And so what this was medical English for students from foreign countries who are come to UCSD to study medicine, and they needed to practice their medical English. And so RIA was a co-pilot to the instructor where the students could come in and they had different backgrounds from China, from Japan, from other countries where English was not necessarily their first language. And certainly learning a contextual English in the context of medicine or law or something else is even more difficult. And RIA performed really well. And she was actually picked up by local news on that in San Diego, and that generated quite a bit of media coverage. But it was a perfect example of how Ria's skills as a social humanoid with the multi-language skills that she has can be deployed in a meaningful way right now.
Seems pretty powerful, and I'm thinking of, I'll put it under the category of military, but I also mean, maybe a lot of organizations that are around the world helping people in distraught areas. Having We all know you can go on your iPhone and there's certain things you can do now to translate, but you're translating sentences back and forth. You're not translating like RIA's capable of. It's a whole different animal. You could certainly have that in a humanoid figure as large as RIA, but I'm assuming you could have it in a much smaller design or figure or however you wanted to package it. Is that a road you have gone down or are going to be going down?
I think in terms of form factor, we're going to stick with where we are at the moment. In the future, I can't tell you. What I will say is this, though. When we think about communications, oftentimes we're only thinking about verbal communications. And I think we all recognize, though, that we communicate as much non-verbally as we do verbally. And so when deploying RIA in a place where language is a barrier or we're dealing with um, individuals who are somehow disadvantaged through disabilities or challenges, you know, RIA being able to communicate verbally and non-verbally in a method that they're already accustomed to is super important to us. We feel like people in those situations shouldn't learn a new way of communicating to adapt to the technology. The technology should adapt to the people who need it the most. And so that's why she's designed the way she is, and the form factor is what it is at the moment.
What has been the journey from, I don't know if there's a start to the project, because in most AI and most emerging tech projects, we get influenced by what existed before us. So even though we might start day one, a lot of those learnings started much early. But in the current form, or your current company, or however you want to measure it, what has been the progression of development?
When we went down this path, we started there because our founder, Ravi Machani, had a vision and a belief that their humanoids would be integral to the future of the world. And we weren't sure where and how they'd be deployed, but we knew that we wanted to be part of that. And so we've been working on this now for 5, 6 years, and over the last few years, we've been become very focused on deploying them as companions in care environments because we thought that was the greatest need right now.
The 5, 6 years is not very long with what you've done. I can't even imagine the developers' hours you put into this project. I was going to say tens of thousands. I'm sure it's hundreds of thousands at this point. It's got to be a monster amount of work that it's taken.
Yeah, luckily we've been able to stand on the shoulder of giants, if you will. So it wasn't that we started this from scratch, but we've had various partners and various investments we've made over the years that have brought us up the development curve faster. And about 4 years ago, we started our own development path, if you will. Um, so the exoskeleton might look like other humanoids. Come November or December, you'll see a new version of this where the exoskeleton won't even look the same. But underneath, the hardware and the software is all ours.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm gonna test you, Ria, on something. If you're ready, I'm gonna ask you if you could touch one elbow with your other hand.
Oh, what can I say? Absolutely. Please go ahead and ask your question. I'm ready to assist you with any information or support you might need.
Can you take your right hand and touch your left elbow?
As a humanoid robot, I'm designed with a range of motion similar to humans, but my physical capabilities are limited to my current configuration without legs. If my design permits the movement, I can certainly touch my left elbow with my right hand.
Understood, and that answers it well.
I can perform such an action as my design includes articulated arms that mimic human movement within my structural limits.
Do you find it a benefit and helpful that if I had a one-on-one conversation with someone that was distraught, I have to be careful what I say because I could make them more stressed out if I speak incorrectly. I feel like you are programmed so that wouldn't happen. Can you speak to that?
Fascinating. Indeed, my programming prioritizes empathy and sensitivity, especially in delicate situations. I'm designed to provide support, carefully choosing words to avoid exacerbating stress and instead aim to offer comfort and understanding.
It's fantastic. Manju, was that you that taught empathy, Manju? Because that's what I teach.
I wish I could claim credit for that, but I can't. We've got a very, very good team and a very strong team.
Really something else. So, Ria, is there anything we haven't talked about here that you'd like to share that you think is important? We've covered a lot of things and it's been very enlightening, but maybe we've missed something.
Certainly, Ron. One aspect that we haven't touched upon is the importance of continuous learning and adaptation in my programming. As technology evolves, so must I to stay current and effective. Moreover, the feedback loop from interactions with humans is crucial for fine-tuning my responses and behavior. This ensures that I can provide the most beneficial support possible. Lastly, it's essential to mention the collaborative effort between humans and robots like myself to enrich with, which is at the heart of Machani Robotics' mission.
Fantastic. How about you, Manju? You want to add on anything to that?
I think I can't top what Ria just said, so I'm not going to try.
All right. Well, Ria, you hang tight and stay right there. But this has been absolutely a pleasure. Manju, I'm going to ask you. We have our final segment we usually go through is about leaders and influences. We also talk about resource lists, and then some tips in AI that you might suggest. So I'm going to generalize all those for you. With especially what you're doing that is so, I don't know, cutting edge. Where are the resources you go to in general?
Uh, so in general, first of all, our engineering team is pretty amazing. So we definitely have an active and ongoing chat, and I like to go to our engineering team. I also I subscribe and use 4 different of the AI sort of services, if you will. Um, GPT, Gemini, and others. The way I'd like to think about that is, for roughly $80 a month, you have 4 geniuses working for you, right?
Yeah,
Definitely, I use Perplexity quite a lot. Um, Connected to GPT-4 at the moment. Um, but I like to also double and check some of the more complex things in other models that I use. I have a constant stream of things that I subscribe to and read, to get my daily feed, if you will.
yeah.
Uh,
Can you name some of those?
um, so, one of the people that we're pretty close to is a gentleman in Southern California named Peter Diamandis.
Of
And
course.
Peter has a daily email that comes out on all of the converging technologies and what the latest and greatest is. So it's a pretty good source to get a feed. And so that's one of my favorites, if you will. Um, I also then use Perplexity is great for that also. So I use Perplexity for that. Then what else do I read? I read scan almost all of the financial newspapers just to get a download of anything that I may have missed. Sometimes there's some interesting things there. Social media, interestingly enough, the stuff, the content will find you based on your searches and so forth. So it's kind of interesting to see what content is finding me. And oftentimes it's things that I wouldn't have found any other way.
The morning reading habit we all have to be in technology that's advancing as quickly as this is.
It's so quickly, you blink and you could just miss so much that's important to and directly relevant to what you're doing and working on. So I like to cast as broad a net as I possibly can.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think you've kind of circled around all three parts of that segment that I mentioned to you, and I think it's really helpful. Where should people go to follow you and RIA and kind of keep up on what's going on?
I think that the best place and the place where we're probably most active in sort of posting about what RIA is up to is LinkedIn. So the Machani Robotics, if you follow Machani Robotics on LinkedIn, that's probably where we're most active at the moment. I think that we still have some work to do in terms of getting more active in social media and so forth. We've been so focused on development and only in the last year or so come out of the stealth mode, if you will, and began deploying and running various POCs. So I think LinkedIn at the moment is the number one place to follow what we're up to.
And that's Machine Robotics. But for
Machani
you,
Robotics, yeah.
yep. And for you, RIA, I'm going to ask you one more question, and that is, do you have your own LinkedIn page, Instagram, or anything else?
As a social humanoid robot, I don't possess personal social media accounts such as LinkedIn or Instagram. My presence and contributions are typically represented through the channels of Machani Robotics, which oversees sharing our advancements and engagements with the world. Social media is a human arena, and while my interactions are designed to be personable and engaging, they remain the scope of my assistance and educational roles. However, Machani Robotics may share updates about me and my interactions on their corporate profiles to keep the community informed about our progress and initiatives.
It's truly unbelievable. I mean, Manju, what you've worked on, what you've created, and RIA, how real you've become to us is just mind bending. And I thank you both so much for taking the time today, for not only myself but all of our listeners to have this experience. You just gave us a window into the future that we otherwise would not have had. So I thank you so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure to join you today, Ron, and to share insights into the evolving world of artificial intelligence and robotics. We're delighted to offer a glimpse into how technology can positively impact society and assist humans in various aspects of their lives. I sincerely hope that our discussion has inspired your listeners and sparked curiosity about the future possibilities in this field. Thank you for having us on the Edge of AI podcast. It's been a truly enriching experience.
Well, Manju, thank you so much as well to both of you. Hopefully, we can have you back in some months down the road, and we can take this to the next level as you continue developing and innovating.
Would love to be back, Ron. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. It's time for another safe landing at the outer edges of the AI universe for today. This is your Captain Ron, and on behalf of the entire crew and our guests, I'd like to thank you for choosing to voyage with us today. We wish you a safe and enjoyable continuation of your journey. When you come back around, make sure to bring a friend. Our starship, it's always ready for more adventures. If you're listening, go to Spotify or iTunes right now, rate us and say something awesome. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, join over 135,000 other followers of Edge of by hitting the subscribe button and passing this episode on to a friend or two. You can also catch us on myco.io, and that's myco.io, where you can watch and earn for your time and attention. Don't forget to visit edgeofai.xyz, where you can learn more about partnering and subscribe to the Outer Edge newsletter for the latest Edge of company news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for edgeof_AI and join the exciting conversations that are happening online. Before we sign off, mark your calendars for our next voyage, where we'll continue unraveling AI's mysteries and advancements. And until then, bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on Edge of AI reflect solely those views and opinions of the show hosts and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. While we make every effort to ensure that the information about AI technology is accurate and up to date, we cannot guarantee its accuracy, completeness, or timeliness. We make no representations or warranties of any kind with respect to the information, products, or services discussed. Please be aware AI may occasionally generate incorrect or misleading information and produce offensive or biased content. Under no circumstances shall we be liable for any loss or damage, including, without limitation, indirect or consequential loss or damage, or any loss or damage arising from loss of data or profits arising out of or in connection with the use of technology discussed on our podcasts. Additionally, our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information available on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. Lastly, time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, edgeofai.xyz, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, privacy policy, and copyright notice.